Cool, brother. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to let me interview you, man. I really, really enjoy what you're doing. And I have to say, I just started the accelerator agency course that you have. And I've already getting results on it. It's been 4 days. It's been
Nice.
really, really great stuff, man. I really appreciate it. So, so what made you say yes to the interview, by the way?
I mean, I'm always up to talking to people, especially people that are positive and motivated and good energy. I mean,
Uh-huh.
the more people you can spread your good word to, the better.
Got you. Totally, totally. So for everybody out there, my name is Malcolm. This is an amazing, one of the best marketers in the world, Matt Plapp. And this whole series is interviewing the best people at what they do, people who give 5-star service and go above and beyond. And I got to tell you, when I first met Matt, it was at a event at Billie Jean's. It's called the SOG Meetup. And I called this guy Clark Kent because this man had this power, but he was like being quiet about it. But now this dude is Superman. He is busting stuff out like I've never seen before. He's always giving help and advice that gets you results, and that's for free. And I joined his accelerator program, hoping to accelerate my agency. And in 4 days, it's already helping me out just by following his guidelines and doing what's called RGAs, revenue generating activities. I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background, not doing the revenue generating activities, doing stuff like putting the logo together, putting the website together.
Yeah.
I need to get other people to do that and focus on generating revenue for the business.
RGAs are where it's at, man.
I got it.
I first heard the term a few years ago. I had always had an activity sheet. I called it my daily activities.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard about 3 or 4 people that had talked about revenue generating activities. Are these activities you're doing each day revenue generating? Are they expense generating, like eating lunch by yourself? Or are they just busy work? And what I found, honestly, and it hits all of us, and what got me really focused on it, why I created that guide, was that I found a lot of agencies, specifically like the agencies I was helping coach for Billie Jean, they were so wrapped up in creating their landing pages and their website and their Facebook ads. I'm like, you don't have a client.
Formally guilty.
You don't have, and I say that because I recognize it because Matt Plapp did that. I mean, I would spend some days 4 or 5 hours, and then I would sit back and look at what the hell did I do today? And I remember talking to Billy one time, and we were having a coaching call, and he's like, hey, how many new clients this month? I'm like, oh, I had 6 new clients. How many meetings did you have? I'm like, 6. He's like, so you had 6 meetings and you closed 6 deals. He's like, why the hell didn't you have 20? And that's when it got me looking at, what am I doing each day? And what it turned out to be doing, even myself, a lot of us end up doing things that aren't revenue generating. And so oddly enough, one of Billy's students, Lane and Michelle, she became I was her big brother. And so I was in charge of kind of helping her. And so when she would get on the calls, I'm like, you need to be doing these things. And I had them listed. I had a yellow piece of paper, and every week I would write down videos, phone calls, stop bys, one-to-ones, all the 8 RGAs, LinkedIn outreach, Facebook outreach. And I would write them down, and then I would say, okay, how many am I going to get this week? Because I knew my success was determined by how many people Matt Plapp got visibly in front of that were either the right person to refer me or the right person to buy from me. It's just like baseball. You get up, your home runs are equivalent to the number of times you swing the bat. Your base hits, the same thing. You know, Michael Jordan used to say you can't win a game, you can't make a game winner without taking it, and you're going to miss them. And so that's what got me thinking about it, was the fact that I wasn't doing enough of myself. And then as I started talking to more people like yourself, we're all stuck in this, I've got to have something perfect to go sell. And I started looking back at my history, and Ashley, who's worked for me now for 8 years, I'll never forget it, because back in the first 5-6 years, I'd have somebody call me and go, hey, Matt, I really need your help. I'd qualify them. If they made sense for who I needed to talk to, I'd say, cool, I'll come talk to you. I'd go sit down with them. I'd listen. And I'm good enough at what I do that I can help them for the most part if they're a good fit for me. And even if they say, hey, I'm looking for a texting solution to do ABC, I'd say, hey, I don't currently have that. I can figure it out. It's going to cost you this much a month, and we'll do a year contract, and here's the goals each month, and here's what we're going to do. And they'd be like, cool, let's do it. And I'd come back and go, hey, Ashley, we got a new client. We're doing this. What is that? I don't know. I'll figure it out. And that's the opposite of what a lot of people do. A lot of people go, they'll sit there and try and build something and get it perfect, and then go find a client for it. Well, shit, what if you just built something that no clients want? So go produce RGAs every day. If you produce every day RGAs, you get them in front of people, you do things that are going to make you money, you're eventually going to get opportunities to make money. And then you can figure out what you need to do to make sure that money stays.
Gotcha. So for the people who don't know you out there, like I said, he's one of the best marketers in the world. Who will you say Matt Plapp is, and what is it that you do?
Okay. So I'd say number one, I'm a father and a husband, 2 kids and a wife. Love them to death. Wife, 20 years coming up this August. My kids are 15 and 17. And number 2, I guess you call me a serial entrepreneur. I've been my own boss since 1999 for the most part. I've had a handful of businesses that have done well, a couple that have done terrible. You've got to, I always say you can't get up unless you fall. But today, my main focus is I work mainly with restaurants on a digital marketing platform I created called the ROI Engine. And it all came from, I would have never built it. It happened 4 years ago. A client said, Matt, I can't deposit likes in the bank. How do we monetize our digital media? How do we know all this great stuff you're doing on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and our website and SEO? How do we know that leads to revenue? And so I started out to figure out how we could prove it. And when I did that, I created what is now the ROI Engine. It's about its 7th or 8th iteration over the last 4 years. And then also in the process of that, I started getting agencies that saw what I was doing and said, I want to do exactly what you're doing. How did you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's what I do. It's like, I've got friends of mine that are really good at certain things in athletics. And you're like, how'd you do that? I don't know. It happened. It's just muscle memory. You do it so many times.
Got it.
And so I started helping agencies February, March of 2018. And now we're up to about 300 agencies and a couple of different programs that we help them either the program you're in, the Agency Accelerator, help them figure out how to get more visibility with the right people in a consistent manner and how to grow your client database. And then the second part of that, the upgrade to that is, okay, you've got clients. Here's a system that you can go work with those clients on that proves your efforts. And that's what we do.
Gotcha. Now you say that you work with the restaurants mostly, and you say, so what type of client are you looking for when you're looking for a restaurant as a client?
Yeah. So for me, I'm looking for a client with a high upside. What I mean by that is like I'm sitting behind a restaurant right now that's a 1-location restaurant in Covington, Kentucky, that if they came on board and said, Matt, we like you, we want you to run your program with our restaurant and help with our social media and do this and this, I could help them.
Right.
But I'm going to reach that ceiling right away. Because what happened there? My phone. There we go. So my phone rang, I think. But my ceiling is them. They got 1 location. The minute they hire me, my ceiling is there. Whereas a guy that I picked up last week as a client, that we picked up 3 of his locations, he has 56.
Wow.
And so for me, I look for an established brand that doesn't have a database built correctly, because we help them acquire customers, or help them acquire customers through acquiring the customer's data. And then when they acquire the customer's data in like a messenger, email, texting program, now they have the ability to go sell those customers more pizza, more hoagies, whatever. So I look for a client that needs help with that, because there's restaurants out there that need help with it. They have a terrible brand. No matter what magic I can put on it, you can't put 20-inch, $10,000 wheels on a 20-year-old Toyota Camry that's broke down and expect it to run better. Right. It might look better. And so so for me, an ideal client is an established brand that understands the value of having an audience that they can consistently reach out to, but also doesn't have a low ceiling. That, do I work with clients that have 1 or 2 locations? Yes, we still work when we help them out, but we try and find franchises that if we're going to work with a guy, like I have one here locally who's got 3 franchises, and I've got another client that's got 4. Well, if I can prove my product and process and my relationship to them, that's going to help me open up doors for the other franchises.
Gotcha. So what would you say that makes you more unique or than most agencies? Because a lot of people are just out there to sell someone on something, and it seems like you're really helping people improve their business and get a return on their investment.
Well, a lot of agencies are exactly what I was my first 8 years. You find a client that has a problem, you create a solution to fix the problem. What ends up happening, though, is most of the solutions we create, we don't have a way to prove what we did. I've got friends of mine that used to be in SEO, and the one guy got out of it after about 5 years. He was doing well, but he's like, Matt, it crushes me because every day I know what we're doing supposedly is going to work according to Google stuff. If you do
Right.
one of these, you do 20 of these 1,000 items, it's going to help.
Uh-huh.
But the competitors could have 10 times the budget and be doing 10 times more. And so in 60 days, what we worked our butt off for, who knows? And the other aspect of it is social media. I mean, I can get clients all the comments, likes, and shares I want until I can prove to them that those comments, likes, or shares led to a person walking in, sitting down, spending money. Who really cares?
Right.
And so that's the key element. And a lot of agencies, I've got nothing but love for people that are out there doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're all going to find out eventually is that in order to be scalable from a standpoint of having a sustainable business down the road, you have to have a product and a system. And if you don't have a product or a system that can prove your efforts, then you're gonna hurt. You're gonna be hurt.
Got you. So when you created the agency accelerator program, you say you start off with restaurants, but you got these agencies that really needed your help, so you started that. Were you nervous about starting that?
Yeah, I kind of was. I remember when it happened. I called up a guy that we both know, Billy Jean, because I had a webinar. I had started coaching agencies for Billy. He picked 5 people that were called Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and he assigned each of us like 5 to 10 people to help coach. Because what he found with his program was his program is run by people that know how to run his agency and Facebook ads and landing pages. It's not built with people that know how to build an agency. And so Billy looked out for agencies that were established. They had certain things they had done and said, hey, why don't you guys lend an ear and some advice to these agencies that are building. So I started doing that. Well, when I launched my restaurant marketing program, the early 2018, I didn't envision, I had a webinar, and the webinar, I still crack up to this day. My goal was like 20 to 25 restaurants to come through this webinar, watch the replay, sign up, and get them to sign up for my program. It was kind of like a done for you that they would sign up and they wouldn't hire Matt Plapp, but they would get my product and they would be able to use it. And I thought that would be a good tripwire and get restaurants into my program. And then they would realize they aren't good enough at what I do, that they need to hire me anyways. Well, 56 people bought it in 4 days. And of the 56, 54 were agencies. So I was amazed. I'm like, well, crap, I did well. We made a lot of money, but I don't teach agencies at this level. And I remember calling Billy and him like, well, just keep doing your thing. I mean,
right.
You know what you did. You know how you got there. I almost didn't feel worthy because I'm like, I haven't figured it out. But then when I started looking and talking to agents, I realized I had figured out a hell of a lot more than I thought I'd figured out. And so that's what led me to, okay, I'm going to do this. So I spent March, April, May last year trying to do the agency side and the restaurant side, teaching my concepts. And I realized in July that, you know what, the restaurants don't really want to learn my concept. They want to hire me to do it for them. The agencies need a lot of help. And I realized that I had taken for granted what I had learned the prior 8, I'm 11th year now. So I guess the prior 10 years.
Wow.
That you learn, you fall down a lot, you get up a lot, and you realize what, the conversations are with businesses. And so I just started really focusing on that. And this past month, I brought on Doug Smith to help run my agency on a sales side so that I could dedicate more of my time to making my program better for my restaurant clients and for the agencies. Because if I improve it with my restaurant clients, I then take that knowledge and pass it on to my agency clients and go, hey guys, this is what we did that worked. Do this. And it's great. Now the agency accelerator that you're in, that all came about because about this time, probably last July, August, I had all these agencies that were following me. And they're like, hey, I don't have any interest in working with restaurants, but I need help finding clients. And that was what I kept hearing. And I would ask them, well, what are you doing? Well, I send emails. I do this. I'm like, when was the last time you went to a networking event? When was the last time you went to a B&I event? When was the last time you went knocking on doors down the street, shook hands and kissed babies and didn't try to sell something? And it was foreign to them. And so that got me thinking, okay, these things I take for granted, I call my RGAs, they're easy as shit to me. But the other people, they're putting the pieces together. And so I created the agency accelerator last fall. I made it real simple. Here's the planner. Here's the steps. And here's some intro videos on how to do it. Well, it got to where it was like January, February, and I hadn't really updated them much because I'm not out doing those every day. I don't need to. I don't need to call. I don't need to do business optimizer. I've got enough coming in that I'm able to work my own referrals. So I'm only doing like 3 of the 8 RGAs. Well,
Gotcha.
so Doug Smith and I, are you there? There we go.
Yeah,
Doug Smith and I, my phone just keeps ringing. People keep calling me.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Smith and I had been talking for a couple of years about working together, him coming on board my agency.
Wow.
But I couldn't figure out, we've known each other for 20 plus years. I couldn't figure out what it was, what the next step was, how to get him on board.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at a survey I did like 300 agencies filled out a survey, and every one of them, how to find clients, prospecting, closing deals. And I'm like, well, crap, if Doug believes exactly what I believe with regards to RGAs, if Doug believes in what I do, which he does,
mm-hmm.
and if he comes on board as my sales director, he's going to be doing the RGAs every single day, every one of them. So what if part of Doug's job coming on board, because to me, it was the biggest hire I've ever made with any of my businesses. So financially, it was a big risk for me. I can see the payoff down the street.
Mm-hmm.
But financially, it was like, okay, how do I justify this internally? And when I looked at it, I'm like, well, crap, I could have it to be where 30% of his week is chronicling to the people in the agency accelerator. Hey, I'm Doug. I work for Matt. I'm doing the same stuff you are. He hasn't closed a deal yet. So he's 3 weeks into the job. He doesn't have a close. He hasn't even had an appointment with a client yet because he's laying the groundwork.
Right.
And so he's going through the process. I'm like, well, heck, this is pretty cool.
Right.
That Doug's going to be able to show this success and failure along the way. Like here we are, June 6th or 7th, whatever today's date is. Mm-hmm. And he's on the verge. He's got probably 3 or 4 appointments he'll have in the next couple of weeks with restaurateurs. He's already done about 10 videos. He's already gotten probably 20 one-to-ones in. He's got a lot of things planted that probably by end of June, he'll have closed a deal or 2. And by the end of July, he'll definitely have had 15, 20 appointments, closed a handful of deals. And he'll be able to chronicle that in the agency accelerator. So to me, when I brought him on board, I'm like, well, heck, this is great because I got this agency accelerator program, which I know can be huge because the number one problem agencies have is finding someone to hire them. Well, here's how you find those people. And by the way, this guy's not Matt Plapp. He doesn't have the recognition, doesn't have the following, doesn't have the referrals and leads coming in. He's Doug Smith. He's brand new. And so it's pretty cool. I think it's going to do real well.
Excellent. So would you say you hit your stride yet? So far,
no, I got a while to go. I mean, no, I don't think I'm even close.
Gotcha.
I think there's a long way to go up. A lot of opportunity. It's just figuring out the next step. So that's one of my goals. Oh, excuse me. Mm-hmm. One of my goals with Doug was him coming on board and be able to take a lot off my plate, so I could help get the company going the right way. And it's helped. We're already made strides in the past month where he's able to let me focus on other things while he focuses on the sales.
Super cool. So I guess final question is what's the biggest challenge that you've been facing in your agency?
Biggest challenge in my agency is probably getting structure in place to ensure the results for our clients. You know, just today we reviewed the first time we had we structured, my program's got Facebook Messenger, but we structured our messenger outreach with our restaurants. We did 7 restaurants as an experiment this week. And we structured the outreach a little differently and led them down a path after they engaged a little differently. And that yielded a 2.5 time in 3 days. So we compared June 1st, 2nd, 3rd to June 4th, 5th, and 6th. And it yielded in those 2 different times, so 3 days before and then 3 days once we did this, it yielded almost like a 4.5 time return. So like one client went from having 11 people walk in the restaurant to having 48.
Nice.
And so for me, it's figuring out getting myself out of the business and looking at it. And that's probably what's holding us back. And it's and that just comes with growing. You get to a point where you no longer can be a one-man show, or you can no longer hover over your employees. You've got to let them do their job, and you've got to kind of take initiative in 1 or 2 or 3 things here and there, grow with those. And that's what we're trying to do now, is just create better systems, create better results. And if we do that, then we'll have our clients be happier.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, Matt. I really appreciate it. But before I left, I wanted to show people that this man has marketed himself. Look at that sexy mug and this incredible, amazing box. MattPlapp.com. In it, when I joined the Accelerated Agency, the man sends in a tripod with his book that I just started, which is absolutely amazing and very effective. And it's not just for restaurants either. Everyone should check this book out if you got a business. And the most important is this, what we were just talking about, the revenue generating activities. In this book, he's got it all laid out on the things that we need to do systematically as businesses, actually to build our credibility as well as our business. Again, Matt, thanks so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Take care, man. See ya.
Thank you. You too. Bye.